All right. Welcome back again, grade 9, grade 10 students, and all other students that are dealing these days with exponents. So, I can show you that by the end of this lesson, most of you will be able to solve a question like this with so many negative exponents, or to do some more basic stuff, 5 to the power of negative 2, or also to do stuff with different properties, but also including negative exponents. Finally, you will be able to complete question like this if you just stay till the end of the video and listen to all the explanations. Make sure that you have your copybook ready, pen and pencil to follow me and write all the notes. Also, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you can actually get more and more videos on this topic so that you can practice and develop your skills when it comes to exponents and all other math topics. All right, let us begin. So, before we start with negative exponents, there is something very important that we need to talk about, and that is reminding you basic rules when it comes to exponents. So, if we say, for example, any number to the power of n, and we multiply that by a number to the power of n, what we do is basically we just add the exponents. So it will be m plus n. A real life example, a to the power of 4, we multiply that by a to the power of 6, that will be a to the power of 10. Excellent. Another question, if we have, for example, 5 to the power of, or let's say a to the power of m divided by a to the power of n, that will be a to the power of, we only subtract the exponents, so m minus n. Or if we have an example, 5 to the power of 11 over 5 to the power of 4, what we do is 5 to the power of 11 minus 4, which is equal to 7. Final step, if we have, let's say, a to the power of m, and then we raise it to another power of n, what we do is just multiply the exponents. So this will be m to the power m multiplied by n. All right. Now that we cleared that, let us continue here. So m multiplied by n. When it's double exponents, we multiply the exponents. So for example, if we have a to the power of 5 and then to the power of 4, what we do is basically a to the power of 4 times 5, which is 20. All right. Now that we practice that, guys, it's very important now to start with the lesson. But before we introduce the rule, I would like us to get the rule together. So if we say, for example, 5 to the power of 4 divided by 5 to the power of 6. So what we basically do is, for example, number 5 can be written as 5 and then 2 times 5, 3 times 5, 4 times 5, while 5 to the power of 6 can be written as 5 and then 5 and then 5 and 3 more times 5. All right. Now, what we know is that when we have division, when we have fractions, we can basically just simplify them. So 5 up, 5 down can be cancelled. 5 up, 5 down can be cancelled. 5 up, 5 down, 5 up, 5 down. What we have here is basically in our numerator we have nothing, so we write only 1. In our denominator we have 5 and 5, which is 5 to the power of 2. So 5 to the power of 4 divided by 5 to the power of 6 is equal to 1 over 5 to the power of 2. Okay, let's do it one more time. This time 5 to the power of 4 divided by 5 to the power of 6. We will apply the rule that we introduced in the beginning of the lesson. We copy the base and we subtract the exponents. So 4 minus 6 is equal to negative 2. Alright, we solved the same question twice. The first time we solved the question, we got 1 over 5 to the power of 2. The second time we solved the same question, we got 5 to the power of negative 2, which means if we have negative exponent, we write it as 1 over and then the exponent becomes positive. That is the lesson for today. So if we have a number with a negative exponent, then we write it as 1 over and the exponent becomes positive. This is the formula. Please make sure that you copy the formula so that we can actually start practicing certain questions. So a number to the negative exponent is equal to 1 over a number with the positive exponent. All right, I hope that you took the notes. Let us now start some practice. If we have, for example, 5 to the power of negative 2, what we do is 1 over 5 to the power of positive 2. So if we write it as 1 over and then we copy the same number with the positive exponent, that's it, we have the final answer. If you want, you can say 1 over 25, but that is the same thing. Same thing if we have, for example, 5 to the power of minus 3. So what we do is 1 over and then 5 to the power of 3. It becomes positive this time. All right, I hope that this is clear. Let's see if we can have some practice. If we'll have, let's say, x to the power of negative 4, so we say 1 over x to the power of our 4 becomes positive. All right, what if we have, let's say, 3x to the power of negative 2? We said 1 over, and then we have 3x, but this time the power is positive 2. So 1 over 3x to the power of 2, which we can expand later, or if you want, we can expand it now. So that will be equal to 1 over 3 to the power of 2, 9, x to the power of 2 is x squared. That's it, we are done. To practice this, you can watch our previous video. We explained how to do this. Okay, let's have more practice now. I'll give you 2 questions and I'll give you a minute. What you can do is pause the video and try to solve it by yourself. So if we say, for example, 3ab to the power of minus 1, or if we say 3 and then in brackets ab to the power of minus 2, or we can say 3ab to the power of minus 1. Okay, you have a minute. Try to do it yourself. I would say it's a bit tricky maybe, but pause the video, give yourself a couple of minutes, try to complete it, and then come back, actually continue the video to see if it was correct. I will count to 10. All right, let us solve it together now and see if you got it correct. So we said everything in brackets is equal to the power of negative 1, which means we copy, we say everything what was in brackets this time will be raised to the positive power. So minus 1 becomes 1. Okay, but now if you say, what is 3 to the power of 1? 3. What's a to the power of 1? A. What's b to the power of 1? B. That's it. We are done. Question 2. It's very important here, guys, to see what has to be raised to the power of minus 2. So it's only a and b that are raised to the power of minus 2, which means 3 remains where it was. Then we say ab to the negative 2 becomes 1 over, and then we have a and b to the power of positive 2. Now, since 3 is in front of the fraction, you can always move it up so that we have it in the numerator. Then the denominator becomes a to the power of 2, a squared, b to the power of 2, b squared. With this, we are done. Notice how in the first question, everything was in brackets, so everything goes down. Notice how in the second question, only a and b was raised to the power of minus 2, so only a and b will be in the denominator. Now in the third question, we see that b is the only thing that is raised to the negative 1. So b is the only thing that goes down. So it will be fraction. Now we said 1 goes up, but we have 3 is positive, it remains up. A is positive, it remains up. B to the power of negative 1 goes down and becomes b to the power of positive 1. Now we all know that b to the power of 1 is b. So you can basically say 3a over b. With that, we are done with those three questions. So make sure that you check them together one more time and see if this is clear. So in the first question, we have that only AB is to the power of negative 1. So AB only will be 3AB is to the power of negative 1. So 3AB goes down. AB is to the power of minus 2. So AB goes down. B is to the power of minus 1. So B goes down. If this was clear, I will give you one last question with this. Then we have one more topic to introduce today. So if we say, for example, 6x negative 2, y to the power of 3, and then to the power of 2. Now, in our previous lesson, we learned that when we have multiple terms or numbers raised to the power, then all of them have to be raised to the power of 2. So we basically say 6 to the power of 2, then we say x minus 2 to the power of 2, and then we say y cubed to the power of 2. So if it's to the power of 2, then all of them have to be raised separately to the power of 2. Alright, what's that equal to? 6 to the power of 2, 36. X minus 2 to the power of 2 will be minus 2 multiplied by 2, x minus 4. Y to the power of 3 to the power of 2, y to the power of 6. Final step. We have number 36. It's positive, everything is okay with the number, so it goes up. There is another one that has a positive exponent, y to the power of 4, so it also goes up. The only one that has a negative exponent is x to the power of negative 4. If we move it to the denominator, then the exponent becomes positive. So the final answer will be 36y to the power of 6 goes up and x to the power of 4 goes down. One last thing for today, probably the most important thing. If we have a fraction raised to the negative power, for example, 4 over 5 raised to the negative 1. The way we do this is find the reciprocal value, flip them, numerator and denominator, and they will be raised now to the positive power. So if we flip them, 4 and 5, and it becomes 5 and 4, the exponent is now 1. So the exponent is now positive. Perfect. So we have 5 to the power of 1, and we have 4 to the power of 1, which basically means 5 to the power of 1, 5, 4 to the power of 1 is 4. With that, we are done with this question. You can write this as a formula. If you have a over b to the power of negative n, flip your a and b, make it b over a, and the exponent becomes positive. So it's now to the power of n. Excellent. Let us move on to the next topic. Actually, let us do some practice questions before we move on to the next topic. If we say, for example, 2x over 5y to the negative 2, and then everything to the power of negative 3. All right, what did we say here? Since our exponent is positive, we flip the numerator and denominator, and the exponent becomes positive. So 5y negative 2 goes up, 2x goes down. Our negative exponent has become positive. Excellent. Let us now expand them both, raise them both to the power of 3. So what do we have? In the numerator, we have 5y negative 2 to the power of 3. In our denominator, we have 2x to the power of 3. Now we say, one by one, 5 to the power of 3. If you want, you can write it as 125. Y negative 6 to the power of negative 2 to the power of 3 is y negative 6. In our denominator, 2 to the power of 3 will be 8. X to the power of 3, x cubed. Now you can say that you are done, but there is one last thing that you need to do here. That is y to the negative 6. We know that if it has a negative exponent, switch it to the other side, you will make it positive. If you move it down, it becomes positive 6. So the final answer will be 125, 8 remains down, x remains down, y to the power of 6 goes down and becomes positive. All right, again, if you have any doubts or any questions, make sure that you write it in comments, please, so that we can practice. I know that this is a very difficult topic. I know that it takes time and practice to understand this, but I'm here to help. Any questions you have, please write in the comments. Let's do 2 last questions for today or for this topic. So if we have, for example, x to over 2y cubed to the power of minus 2, but also 2a4 times 3a negative 2. All right. So what we have for the first one, negative exponent, flip them, your exponent becomes positive. So 2y cubed over x, our exponent has become positive. Next step, raise them both to the power of 2. So it's going to be 2y cubed to the power of 2, and it will be x to the power of 2. One last step, x to the power of 2 is already simplified. Here we have 2 to the power of 2 is 4. Y cubed to the power of 2 is y to the power of 6. No negative exponent, everything is correct. And we are done. We move on to the last question for today. We said number multiplied by number, so 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. A to the power of 4 multiplied by a to the power of negative 2 will be a to the power of 2. Because we have 4 minus 2, which is 2. All right, this one was pretty easy actually. So guys, as I said, please, any questions, any doubts, write in the comments, watch the video again, play it a couple of times until you actually understand it. To get more practice questions, make sure that you check the description box. I will share PDFs with questions that you can use to practice. together with answer keys. That's it for today. I will see you in the next video.